So Jacek, I'm going to bring you on now, and you are the CEO of Pyramid Games, and we're really proud to be partners with you on both Mars VR and with future Kickstarters and Indiegogo campaigns you may do with your project Occupy Mars. I think Occupy Mars is a really exciting project. I've been waiting for someone to do something like that, and so I'd love for you to tell us all about it tonight.
Yeah, thank you, James, for introducing me. Okay, so it's great to be here with you, James, Jeff. You do an amazing job with the Mars VR. It's great that there are so many initiatives like that happening, and now I'd like to tell you a little bit about our project, Occupy Mars. So basically, Occupy Mars is a game. An idea for the game started in like many years ago when I was at the university. At first, it was supposed to be a strategy game, but in 2017 we created the first trailer and started the production of the game, which you see now. So in Occupy Mars, we want to reach to the players, like the typical PC or console players. So we want them to experience the first Martian colony, how they would look like, what they should do to survive, like for example 100 years from now. So we want our game to be as exciting as possible for the general public, to get people excited about Mars colonization. So we have prepared multiple game modes. There will be tutorial mode where players can learn all the basic functions of the game. And surviving on Mars is pretty complex, so people have to learn electricity, like generating water, oxygen, like the Sabatier reaction, and all the other. We will have the Sandbox Mode, where players will be able to choose their static locations, difficulty level, like how harsh are their weather conditions. And in the campaign mode, we want to show the story, where players will be able to experience something like a movie firsthand. So we want it to be as exciting as possible, something like in the movie The Martian or in the book. So there are three pillars of our game: base building, exploration, and survival. So player needs to survive. There is a lot can happen on Mars. A lot can kill you. There can be cold waves, dust storms, solar storms, meteor showers, radiation. There is an exploration part where you have to gather various resources. Sometimes you have to find the best place to extract water from, or where there are some, for example, rocks rich in iron or different elements needed for 3D printing. And once you gather your resources, you can start building the base for other colonists who will join you. So basically, at first you are alone, and later you will have some people who will join you. So this is basically how it looks like. You start with a small hub, build some solar panels, then you expand it. You build some warehouse, some tools inside. Then you build greenhouses, domes where you can put plants, and ultimately you build basically a city on Mars, and you experience it firsthand. So here are some game arts from our game, and here are some screenshots. So you are playing first person or third person. You can select how you want to start. So here you can see a landing capsule in which you have your various tools, which are necessary to start building a base. So there is some drill for drilling rocks and collecting resources, pipes and cables, fire extinguisher for some internal fires. There is a blowtorch for welding parts. There is a spectral detector, what we call, we use it to detect what minerals are inside rocks and where to find water. For example, there is a seed tool for planting seeds. There is a grinder for like destroying buildings, retrieving resources. We also have air pressure tool for cleaning solar panels, for example. And yeah, so basically that's how the game looks like inside the base. We have a lot of content in the game. While working on it, we had to research basically how such base should basically what's needed to build a base on Mars when you only have basic resources, basic tools. So we started basically from scratch, and the game kept growing and growing. So right now we have multiple vehicles, as you can see. There is a heavy rover, which is like the most important vehicle because it's used to carry resources to the 3D printer. You can have different trailers for like water tanks, oxygen tanks, methane. You will be able also to fly Ingenuity helicopter, drive different vehicles. There are tens of different buildings you can build to interconnect them. There are greenhouses. There are solar panels, power splitters, tools like Workbench and HemLab. On the Workbench, you are learning basically soldering, fixing some circuit boards, and in the chemistry laboratory, you can discover new elements and combine what you found on Mars to basically discover new technologies. There are different big buildings like hangar where you can put your vehicles to protect them from sandstorms or meteors, for example. The crusher or the shredder is the giant building which is used for processing the collected resources. You can build various antennas. Some are used to connect with like external civilization, and some antennas are used for remotely controlling vehicles in the game. We also have robots. For example, this four-legged robot which we called Spotty. If you watched a movie Red Planet many years ago, I think it was from 1997, there was also a four-legged robot on Mars. So that was our initial inspiration. Then we also were inspired by different companies who build such robots. You can also build solid rockets, liquid rockets. It's like a great way to learn rocket science, basically. We have a rocket booster for going into Mars orbit. And also we have the what we call ITS for interplanetary travel, where you can walk around inside it. We have a launch pad for it. And yeah, so basically we wanted to create a whole ecosystem of tools, buildings, and vehicles to enable players to like basically fulfill their dreams on Mars. Whatever you want to do on Mars should be possible in our game. And it was cool that you mentioned importing some NASA height maps from real from real Mars locations scanned by NASA. So we are also doing something similar in our game. We have some of the most known locations like Valles Marineris, Olympus Mons, some craters like Gale Crater, Jezero Crater, Korolev Crater. And between them, we are using algorithms to generate procedural terrain. So basically, the terrain is procedurally generated, unlimited, and between those procedural like deserts and canyons, there are those well-known locations which we know from, for example, the places where real Mars rovers landed. So we also had to add the things which were where we didn't have enough detail in the NASA databases. So as you mentioned, fist-sized rocks. So we were also, for the last year, we were reworking basically our terrain system to to support a lot of different rock sizes, and to make it run smoothly and optimal on a typical player PC. So that's another thing. While working on the game, since we are working on it for over 4 years now, we prepared some different arts like posters from the game content, which you can see right now. So we really wanted to capture the spirit of building the first base on Mars. We were inspired basically by many companies who work towards this goal of creating civilization on Mars. And based on the most probable technologies which are currently being developed, we extrapolated those technologies and created the technologies of the future in our game. So it is science fiction, but it is hard science fiction. So we try to be as close to science as possible. And there are no fantasy elements. There is no nothing, no basically living organism on the planet aside from the dangers which Mars has already. So weather, different weather conditions, and you can even fall down and break your helmet and lose oxygen this way. So we really tried to show as many details as possible in the game. And yeah, so we also have some funny achievements where you will be able to collect while playing. So yeah, we try to first and foremost make this fun experience, and we try to balance between fun and realism, because this is the most important to make it a successful product. And if we make it successful, if we enable players to create content for the game, like using Steam Workshop or other modding tools, then the game would live on long after we finish it, and people will still be talking about colonizing Mars, and that's very important. So this is what we want to achieve a place where people can go back years later to feel like they are on Mars, to do whatever they want on the red planet, and yeah, and just learn how the future colonies would look like. So basically, I hope you saw all my everything I showed you so far on the screen. And yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thanks. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few. I wanted to ask sort of what's your timeline now for finishing out the game? And are you planning on doing it's kind of two questions. Are you also planning on doing an Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah, we are thinking about it. For now, our plan is to finish the beta version of the game and open it first to our most engaged players which are on our Discord server, and then open it to more and more people so that we can test what they do in the game. As you saw in the documents I shared just moments ago, there is a lot of different mechanics, tools, and vehicles, and all of them can interact with each other in an open world game. So there is no way to predict what players will do with them. So the only way to make sure that everything works as expected is to invite players to start playing and see what they find, see their feedback, and based on that feedback we will decide on the release date. So hopefully it's not long. As I said, we started the full-time development of the game in 2017, so it's already a few years, and we think in a few months the game would be going live. And that's we know that this is a very competitive market, especially releasing games digitally these days. There's a lot of different companies. There's a lot of different ways to basically have an entertainment, because this is for many players who will play this game, it will be mostly entertainment. Of course, there are people who are excited about Mars, and I know that those people will are waiting for the game no matter what. They will be playing it, but we need to make sure that we are targeting a wider range of people. So people are not maybe don't care about Mars, they just care about cool games, survival games, but maybe they will become maybe they will become interested in Mars, in colonization, after playing our game. So this is our goal, to make the launch as good as possible, because the launch day is the most important in this basically, yeah, it is in this hard market. So we are doing everything to prepare as great as we can for the launch day, and then hopefully a lot of people will see the game and will start this movement of occupying Mars.
That's great. That's great. Question from Dusty Green: is there a tech tree in the game, or are all items available right away?
Yeah, so actually there are multiple tech trees. We have decided to divide them into different tech trees, because one was too big and hard to navigate. So basically you have like materials tech tree, electricity, chemistry, biology, and one more. Actually, I don't remember right now, because yeah. So if you want to, for example, unlock new technology like the kilopower reactor, the nuclear reactor, which is inspired by the one NASA is developing right now. So it will give you more energy for powering your base, while not needing so much space as you would have to build like 10 solar panels to, while you can build only one kilopower reactor, and it would give you the same amount of power. So to unlock the kilopower reactor, you have to unlock some technologies in the electricity tech tree, and each technology has different requirements. And yeah, so the game is pretty complex. One of the, as many of you know, we have released a free demo version and a prologue version on Steam last year. So one of the most common feedback from players was that the game seems to be too hard for some people, that we need to add more tutorials which explain the mechanics better. So that was one of our focus during last few months. And so right now we are pretty confident that the tutorials are smoothly inviting players to learn about all the mechanics. Last week we were at EGX London gaming event, where we were showcasing for the first time the full early access build and gathering feedback from the players. And it was great to see that this work has paid off, because there was a lot of people just had fun playing the game, building their bases, gathering resources, and that's what's the most important, to give people fun, joy, and if they have good experience, they will remember that Mars is something worth learning about. Maybe they will go to university, they will become engineers, and inspiring people by video games is something we believe in very deeply, as our whole company, Pyramid Games, was founded around this premise, that we want to educate people with video games. And we did this previously with Rover Mechanic Simulator, so our previous game, where we had a very detailed Mars rovers, where players, by relaxing, by playing, like fixing them, players can learn about every single detail of those rovers, every single scientific instrument which is on the rover, why is it there, what's the purpose, how what's inside of it, and how to fix it. And so after spending like 15 hours in a rover mechanic simulator, you can basically finish the game and become an expert in the rovers, and then tell your friends that you know all those details. And to learn something, this amount of knowledge, you would have to study hundreds of pages of NASA documentation for a long time. And if it's shown in this form of a video game, it becomes enjoyable. It's not work anymore. It's just relaxing activity, while also giving you a lot of knowledge and information. So this is what we did with our previous games, and this is what we want to do with Occupy Mars.
Yeah, and your previous game, Rover Mechanic Simulator, wasn't there a connection to our European Rover Challenge as well?
Yes, so we are cooperating with European Rover Challenge for the third year this time. This year we also started an online e-tournament because due to COVID, the European Rover Challenge is now in a hybrid form. So there are competitions in the real Mars yard, like a simulated Mars environment in University of Technology in Kielce, and student teams from all around the world bring their own rovers and participate in these competitions. And during this these competitions, we are also running an e-tournament in our game Rover Mechanic Simulator, where players compete with each other in fixing Mars rovers. So basically, we are also trying to get a younger audience interested in the European Rover Challenge and in building rovers. So, for example, people from schools who are visiting European Rover Challenge in the previous years, and now due to COVID, it's harder to do. So those people, those young people, can participate in such tournaments and get excited about building rovers and fixing them. There are always some prizes to win, like keys to video games, for example. And the main prize is driving a real rover on the Mars yard remotely by internet connection. So this year, a guy from Bangladesh won the competition, and he couldn't fly to Poland for the European Rover Challenge, but he could take part in our tournament online, and you know, this way he could participate and got his prizes. So yeah, we are looking forward to the next year's European Rover Challenge. We are planning some even bigger competitions, perhaps in Occupy Mars as well. So we want to expand this esport without esport without violence, but esport with focused on learning and focused on Mars.
Yeah, I think the world needs a lot more entertainment choices that are educational and not violent. That's great. Robert, I see you're on video. Do you have a question for Jacek? You're on mute, Robert. Let me help you out.
Okay. Well, how can people join the game?
I put the link to your Steam page, and also the prologue in the chat. But go ahead, Jacek.
Yeah. So for now, there are multiple options. First, if you want to join the full version of the game, the best way is to add our game to your Steam wishlist. This way, you will get notified about the start of beta and start of early access game. Meanwhile, you can play the demo version and the free prologue version on Steam, which is showing a shorter story happening before the full game. You can also play Rover Mechanic Simulator on Steam and learn to build Mars rovers, fix them. So yeah, there are multiple ways you can play, but the most important thing is to add Occupy Mars to your wish list. This way you will get notified once we are sure that we've tested everything, that we have completed translations, because the game will be released in at least 8 languages, and there is a lot of text to translate, because as I mentioned before, we have like 5 different technology trees, many technologies in each tree. We also have a knowledge base inside the game, which has an article about every single building, vehicle, tool you can find in the game, different locations, weather events. So it's become like a huge database, and even preparing the texts for the game and translating them takes some time. But once we finish all that, you will be able to play the full game. So adding to your wishes, it will give you the opportunity to make sure that you won't miss the time when it's ready. And as I said, right now you can play the free Prologue on Steam and Rover Mechanic Simulator on Steam.
Yeah, it's been on my wish list for a long time, even before you had it on Steam as an option for wish lists. And I definitely recommend the Prologue. It's a lot of fun. Check that out. One more question from the Q&A panel from Kai Wen Lin. Besides the tutorial, will you have a quest system or crafting?
Yeah, so there are multiple tutorial scenes. In each tutorial scene, you're learning something different. For example, we've prepared a special big tutorial scene for learning electricity, because electricity is pretty big part of the game, and you have to learn how to, yes, build solar panels, connect them, build transformers for energy, proper cable management. And this is like pretty complex, but once you complete the tutorial, you understand how it works, and then you can power even very big bases inside the game. As for quests, we have the, as I said at the beginning, we will have the campaign mode, where player basically plays a story. So there is his character is arriving at the base, and then something happens, and he needs to survive. So he will receive quests and sub quests, which will guide him through the game. So just like Matt Damon in the movie The Martian, we wanted it to be exciting. So if players want to play the campaign mode, they can have like a interactive movie experience, let's say. And if somebody wants to explore the game on his own, then the Sandbox Mode is for that, where you can select your starting location. For example, Korolev crater full of water ice. It's a great location to start for building water wells. Or you can select Jezero crater and find Perseverance rover there, try to fix it, build a base around the crater. So yeah, in the free play modes, you can do whatever you want. At first, it's easy to, let's say, at first, it's not easy to survive, but once you die a few times in the game, you will become an expert, and this knowledge will be also valuable once, maybe in the future, some of our players will fly to Mars, and once they are really on Mars, they will know what to do, because there are some things which can be trained by playing the game, like how to build airlocks like in an optimal way, how to build greenhouses close to water supply, and managing electricity, managing CO2 scrubbing inside the base. So I think there is also some research is possible to be made while playing, because you can build a huge base in relatively short time, and then play and see how long can you survive using those starting conditions, and then change the starting conditions and try again. And this way, once when we finally arrive on Mars in real life, we will have, hundreds of trial and error in our experience, so we will know what to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jacek. We're out of time now. We have to move on to the next speaker, but I am so excited about your project and I can't wait to try it out when it's released. And you've been a great partner for us as well on Mars VR with our Indiegogo. So thank you so much. Thank you for participating tonight and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here. Even it's 4 a.m. here in Poland, but it was really worth it to join and talk about the game with you. So
thank you so much for staying up to talk to us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.